Alright, I wanted to kind of go over vendors for you here. This is a little bit more complicated than the AR because a lot of this and most of this isn't actually built yet. Um, but the function of vendors or AP, accounts payable, is to be able to create purchase orders or you know um, create a bill that we know we need to pay for a particular vendor. Um, I guess what we really need here is a way to add on to our existing vendors, um, pretty much bills for that vendor. Uh, Currently, right now in our system, let's see here, we have um, we have something called vendor SKUs here, and it's really basic information so far here. But we need to kind of add a couple of sections, I guess. We need to be able to create a purchase order. What a purchase order typically looks like is, let me show you. So this is the same view kind of as an AR for the QuickBooks Online. I mean, you can tell they look almost identical to each other. But this has different types of, views like open bills, overdue bills, how many bills were paid in the past 30 days. This is just the same view that I tried to emulate here in my mock-up. Open bills, overdue bills, and then basically it will list out all the vendors that have a particular payment or bill attached that is not paid yet. Um, the thing is that since we are running, accounts receivables the way that we are, um, you know, this is pretty much a little bit different from that, uh, because this isn't anywhere here. Like this isn't on Addo right now. Right now, none of these sections exist, so we actually have to build this out. Um, and when looking at this, this is just a list right here of all the vendors that have an open balance. We can also search for a vendor and pretty much create a purchase order or bill for that particular vendor. Um, these are the details of the vendor. It doesn't actually have to look this way. We can keep and adopt the same design format we have here, where it pretty much expands down here for a particular vendor. It's just that the accountants, they need to be able to see a dashboard view or like a list view. So that's one thing that is missing from this. Because if I'm in the system and I want to know, how many bills are still open or how many purchases orders are out there from all these different vendors, I want to go to that section and be able to, or this section and be able to, pull that information fairly quickly. Um, so let me give you an example of what a purchase order looks like here. Purchase order here, you see I'm able to create a bill, create expense, create a purchase order. I'm going to create a PO for this particular account. And what it does is it's like creating an invoice, right? But you're creating an invoice for yourself, but for a particular vendor like Home Depot, for example. Like I want to create an invoice for myself from Home Depot. Like I need to order, X amount of bolts, X amount of screws, and so on and so on. And what this does is it gives me pretty much like a purchase list or all the items that I need to go and purchase from this particular vendor. It gives me an idea of what kind of costs I'm going to anticipate from a particular a vendor at any moment. And so going back to this mock-up here, we can. This is pretty much the same thing as line item adding SKUs into a customer's job. We're line iteming things into a vendor now, and we're pretty much we're the ones who are paying it, or like the company is the one that's paying this bill instead of a customer paying this bill. And this is to track expenses out to particular vendors. It's also good to keep track of commissions or transactions paid to independent contractors uh, and things like that. I know right now I don't think we're going to be able to add in a way to write checks for these vendors. That's something that they need to figure out on how to do themselves. Eventually, I'd like to be able to create and print checks from the software as well, but we can move that to a different phase because right now we're really pressed for time. So basically, we're able to print and create purchase orders, and then we are able to basically say if we've paid them or not, and that way it'll be labeled in the system so that we can track how much has actually gone out to vendors, and we'll pull a report for vendors as well for accounts payables. Because as an accountant going in, my pretty much function for accounts payables is who do I owe money to, and how much have I paid out, and from what account have I paid out, which we're going to go over, and that's pretty much what the register function is going to be, is like which account is money going into and which money is it coming out of. So as an accountant, those are the things that I need to know, and in order for me to pull that information or create those type of inputs or information, I need to be able to input that here. So right here, I guess I can clarify the mock-up a little bit here today, but for the most part it would basically go under here, and we can either create a bill for this and we'll have a transaction history, or create a purchase order from this vendor. That way we can keep track of anything that is going on between us and this particular vendor. Alright, so that's pretty much it for accounts payable. It's really basically anything that we pay out to, right? So any of these vendors that we have here, we want transactions of what we're getting from them, and being able to send the PO out to customers. I guess currently we can just print the PO to a PDF or something like that. I'll show you an example of that here. I'm going to create a PO here, and let's put in screws and something like that. Oh shit, it's going to make me make this. Let's not do that. But let's say I'm going to go print. Alright, I have an item. Amazon. No, office supplies. Really? Alright, so here it gives me an line item here, and I'm able to print this, and this is what my purchase order looks like. Well, I didn't really put that description here, but it gives me the vendor, who they're supposed to ship it to. I guess we need to add in shipping addresses to the system as well, which I'll figure out where to put. That'll probably go under admin. We'll have a section called company. But this is pretty much what a purchase order looks like. And this is also what we need to be able to create for each one of our vendors here. Alright, so that's accounts payables. If you have any questions, just let me know, and I can go over and run anything by you again. Okay? Alright, thanks.